What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and this is a very interesting article that has came out from IGN when it comes to Persona 5 potentially coming over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, a ATLUS US PR communications manager recently spoke with the publication about the potential of Persona 5 coming over to the Nintendo Switch. But before we even talk about all of this, you have to remember that ATLUS US PR, okay, the PR branch for the US ATLUS, does not make the decisions on what comes over to the Nintendo Switch. They're not the decision maker. They don't have the influence on that. This is ATLUS Japan. This is Sega. These are the companies that make the decision, okay? Sega and ATLUS in Japan, not the company ATLUS PR here in the US, okay? But in Japan, they make the decisions, and I want to make sure that I emphasize that so you guys don't go all bombarding ATLUS US when it comes to if they're the ones who are making the decision or not, because that's not the case. It's ATLUS Japan with their countless surveys over the past 3 years saying you want Persona on Switch. So let's go ahead and get into this here because there's a number of things that I have to say, but I want you guys to get the information first. So IGN recently reached out to ATLUS's PR communications manager, Ari, and I cannot say the last name, but you guys will have the link in the description below. And she stated this, quote, "I am a strong believer in never giving up on hope." Then she went on to explain this, quote, "You want what you want, and if you don't let us know it, we're never going to be able to make it." Now, here's the thing. Fans have already expressed their extreme desire to have Persona 5 on the Nintendo Switch. And Ari also had this to say about that, quote, "Keep telling us what you want." And she continued to say that she'll be an internal champion for the idea. But then she also stated, which is very important here, that she is not the decision maker for those type of things, and to keep demand up with ATLUS. So basically she says, well, you know what, if you want it, you gotta port beg for it. So that's essentially what she's saying here. Now, I'm not gonna go in too much on it when it comes to the whole port begging thing, because this is a communications manager. She does not have a say in what's going on. It's not the same as a developer with pull within the company. It's not the same as a Japanese developer who's working on the game or a publisher who puts that out there in Japan, okay? So she's essentially just trying to appease the fans. It's communications. This is a classic communication / PR type of response, although it was a little bit more emotional. You can tell that this person probably wants it on there, and this is just me, just my own speculation, but based off of my own education when it comes to communication, because I also a communications major, this is definitely something to where she wants to try to please the fans in terms of things, and there's some information that she's probably holding back that she can't say, but she does a good job, or at least tries to do a good job, of skirting around that and giving people something else to talk about instead of talk about the actual business sense of why this isn't happening. And that's what I'm getting here, is that they're trying to avoid the issue why it's not happening and how it's such a bad decision for the most part, financially or business-wise at this point. It's a pretty bad decision to not have Persona 5 on the Nintendo Switch or not have plans for it. However, there are other reasons why that is the case. But I think that there's enough in this to also say that there probably isn't an exclusivity deal that she knows about, or there isn't an exclusivity deal at all. You know, I think those are definitely possibilities there. Those are definitely possibilities, and it does feel like it could happen based on things because of the ATLUS surveys, because of what this person had to say here. And what she had to say was completely different from that interview, I guess a few years back or a couple years back, where the former PR guy was a bit more, I would say, aggressive in tone when it comes to Persona 5 on the Nintendo Switch. But that was back before the 52 million units sold plus, and the Switch has pretty much taken Japan by storm. The PS4 still had a sizable lead over the Nintendo Switch at that point. So things have changed considerably with the landscape of the Japanese industry, and even here in the US, the Switch has just been an amazing system that has come out and just changed a lot of people's minds on a lot of stuff. Now, this also tells me that ATLUS is also, in my opinion, poorly ran company. I think Sega is also a poorly ran company. I think that when you have something like this. I would say that there's really no transparency with your fans and kind of what's going on here, considering the landscape and considering the DNA of who's buying your games and what that's been there, which I think there are quite a number of Persona fans who do want to play these experiences anywhere that they want. I think that it's pretty much a bad look when it comes to what the company is about and what you're trying to do for your fans. But at the same time, it is what it is on that front. And this came up because there are the Persona 5 Royal, those videos are going up, previews, people are starting to play the game. The game is already out in Japan and it's coming out fairly soon here in the West. So there's been a lot of promotion that they're starting to ramp up with when it comes to Persona 5 Royal. So I can understand why this question gets brought up, and IGN did a good job. I think that is a good question to bring up. Unfortunately, it's probably with the wrong branch. We have not heard ATLUS Japan really talk about this. We have not heard Sega really talk about this, but we have heard them talk about their game sales underperforming, and we have heard them talk about profits dipping. So that's the reason why I'm saying these things, like it's not a good business decision, and obviously they are ignoring a very large market that's going to buy their games. I think that it's an issue when it comes to the business sense. For those who are going to rush to the comment section and say, stop moaning for this or that or whatever the case is, without even watching the video, which I'm not sure if they even made it to this point. I have Persona 5 on the PlayStation 4 and people can play it on there. I'm strictly talking about from a business sense, but I'm not going to port beg ATLUS, okay? I'm not going to sit there and tag them and port beg them and all of this stuff. They have their surveys, okay? They just announced they had a record number of people ask there. We already know, we've seen it for years. People have been asking and asking and asking. I don't really think that there's any need. It's at this point begging. People have been asking for the past 3 years, literally been asking for the past 3 years. You have Joker in Super Smash Brothers. I really don't think there's any need. Fans have already expressed that, but I guess this person obviously wanted to give people hope, and she thinks that it's okay. There are people who are for and against this type of practice, right? And working at ATLUS obviously is not going to be against that. That's free PR, that's free publicity for their game. When you see a lot of people tagging them and asking for it, it brings basically free advertising to their game, whatever platform it's on. Well, where can you play that on right now at this point? Well, that'd be PlayStation 4, right? So it gives them free marketing. So of course companies are going to be down for that. Of course PR managers are going to be down for that. Of course people are going to say, yeah, go ahead, get that done, because it is more spotlight for your game. The more that you can get people talking about your game, the better it is for that game. Sometimes even if it's in a negative light, there are people who will see the positive out of that, even if there's something negative that is happening. If your game is good, that is. Not if your game is not very good at all, then obviously that's a whole different case. But that's kind of how I see things here. I don't take this as a super serious type of thing. I don't take it as this means ATLUS Japan, which some people are already taking it that way. You have to remember, guys, this is PR, and I would even say it's slight on the nonsense side. There are some sincere things in terms of what this person Ari from ATLUS is saying. I think that this person does want Persona 5 on the Nintendo Switch. I think there's a lot of people probably within ATLUS that want Persona 5 on the Nintendo Switch so they can play that type of experience, you know, on the go when they're at work and other stuff like that, and not be tied down to their station or whatever the case is, or even when they're on flights to Japan, things like that, being able to play ATLUS's games on the go. It's something that many business people do. It's something that many people that work at these companies do. Heck, the reason why we even have Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch is because the people from Blizzard wanted to be able to play something like that on the go. Big experience with tons of content, being able to play like that on the go was something that they enjoyed. They thought it would be a good idea, so they decided to make Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch. So that's not a foreign concept for many people out there. But we're just going to have to wait and see what ATLUS has to say. But I'm not reading too much into this here. I think it's just basically PR for the most part. She has no decision over these things. ATLUS here in the US, their PR branch, communications manager, people and all that, they have no decision over these things. But yeah, I can see why she said what she said. But at the same time, I'm not going to be engaging in that. But if you guys want to do that, you are free to do it. Maybe it'll happen at some point. But I do feel that there is some more meaning to this. I do feel that Persona 5 could eventually come to the Nintendo Switch after we got Catherine being ported over to the system. That's coming. We do know about that because of the rating. I think that ATLUS might be starting to take things a little bit more seriously when it comes down to the Nintendo Switch. I'm not really sure 100%. I mean, ATLUS is ATLUS, and a poorly ran company is a poorly ran company, so you never know at the end of the day. They can always make certain decisions that might be different in terms of what you think should be getting done. but at the same time, there does seem to be some momentum on that side. So what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description below. We've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow to stay up to date on all the latest gaming information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.